Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to Let's Play Dead Space 3. We find ourselves delving deeper into some alien ruins, trying to find the machine that flash froze Tau Volantis to stop convergence from occurring. Now we're going to learn a little bit more about the alien species that built that machine. So, this is describing how the alien language works, and that's going to come into play in a little bit. More importantly, it describes how they left a pronunciation key behind for the musical tonal language that they use. And they left it behind in case they didn't succeed in stopping convergence. They stopped it when the Brother Moon was half-formed from it.
The misshapen moon in orbit. That's what controls the markers. It's the end state of these creatures. Or rather, it would have been. You see, the natives of this planet constructed a machine that froze the moon in mid-formation. But it wasn't enough. Even half-formed, the moon's marker signal speaks to the markers back home. And it doesn't end there. There is a network of brethren moons spanning the stars. As each one completes, it connects to this network, making them aware. If this moon should complete, its brothers will all come, looking for food. But there is hope. The natives never finished configuring the machine. It wasn't meant to merely freeze the moon, it was meant to destroy it. You'll need the codex. It is the key to unlocking this machine and reconfiguring it. Follow my trail into the heart of the machine and end this nightmare.
Carver, did you hear that? The machine can crush the moon. It just needs to be properly configured.
What about Danik?
Stopping Danik won't be enough. We need to get that codex back. It's the key to reconfiguring the machine. But Serrano's locked the passage using some kind of alien glyphs. I'm gonna look for a way to bypass it.
Now we get to the first of Dead Space 3's alien language puzzles. It's not even really basic, Simon says, though. Somewhere in this room, there's going to be a bit of graffiti or maybe a video which shows which hieroglyphs we need to select. Oh, here we go. I thought that was just going to play back the video we saw before. Okay, so should get that right. Might need to go back to it in a second. Yep, okay, got it. So not even really Simon Says. For future ones, I think they even put the alien language in subtitles. But you know what this really makes me want? Like a whole game that's just Arrival. Like a logic puzzle game based around learning an alien language. I think that would be so sick!
My God. Holy shit. This must be ground zero.
And that must be the machine.
So I guess this is it, huh?
Yeah. This is it.
I need you to promise me something. If I don't make it, you'll get this done, right?
We'll get this done, Carver. You and me.
Yeah, but if I don't... I helped get us this far. And that's close enough for all this to count, right?
Count for what?
For... I don't know, just... all the bad I've done.
Oh, shut up, Carver. You're a good man.
I alienated my son. Wrecked my family. Isaac, I killed Santos. Is that what a good man does?
Good men mean well. We just don't always end up doing well.
Yeah. Hey. I'm sorry about Ellie, man.
Me too. Me too.
This way! Clear that rubble!
Look, Stan, it's not too late.
We'll turn it back now, right?
Let's go get that codex. Come on! Eyes on these paths! They join up with Danix up ahead!
Try to slow him down. I'll find another way.
That's cool and all. I'm gonna go collect all this bullshit. So how did we get the Dead Space 3 that we got? With microtransactions and co-op and Carver.
Danik, you have to stop.
Isaac, is that you? You are unbelievably hard to kill. Are you aware of that?
Danik, do you know about the moon? Do you know what it is?
Part of the miraculous ecosystem, I assume.
It's alive, Danik. It's hungry and it isn't alone. If you turn off the machine, you'll set it free. And then it and all its brothers find our markers, find us, and wipe us out.
How can you presume to know its intentions? You fear it because you don't understand it.
Danik, hear me out! Danik, are you listening to me? Motherfucker!
I mean, that seems really disingenuous on his part. He knows that that's what the necromorphs do. He's seen it.
Isaac, there he is! Danik! Shoot them!
So back to the question of how did we get the Dead Space 3 that we got? Well, according to EA, it's because people spoke unanimously about wanting to be able to play with a friend because some of them were too scared to play alone. Which, yeah, come on, that's a horseshit PR line. I remember hearing that they were thinking of co-op in Dead Space 1, but Visceral didn't have time to implement it without delaying the game significantly. And the multiplayer element of 2 had its genesis in that idea. And then they finally just did full-blown co-op multiplayer for 3, and it kind of comes in proximity to some other to some other EA published games suddenly having co-op out of the blue, like Mass Effect 3 and Dragon Age Inquisition having its online multiplayer element. So this idea didn't just spring forth from nothing. It was clearly a publisher mandate that all their big budget games have some form of online multiplayer going forward. I'll pick up that thought in a second, because we have another one of these mines, or plastic explosives to place, and then this.
Codex! Isaac! I got you! The fuck kind of plan is this? Give it to me! Christ, you're heavy! Isaac, you're slipping! Isaac! No!
Carver!
Over here! Where? Oh, hell. I'll meet you at the machine!
We're gonna cut this dude loose. So all of this about it being an EA mandate was an educated assumption. And everything was confirmed for me when I watched a Eurogamer piece about, we're gonna have a bunch of these, about the Dead Space 3 that Visceral wanted to make. It was less action-focused, more about Isaac's psychosis. But EA pushed them for multiplayer and microtransactions, and they didn't know how to market existential dread and survival horror and personal nightmares and dementia. They didn't know how to make that attractive to a wider audience. Even though Dead Space 1 found moderate success. It was disappointing by EA standards, but I'm pretty sure that it made its budget back.
The deep dig teams are some of our brightest archaeologists and soldiers. What happened to them down here? Served as a cautionary tale to us all. What drove them to such extreme behavior, to such depravity and violence? I have sequestered their bodies in the staging compound. There I hope to find answers, not only to their demise, but to the workings of the artifact they discovered in the depths.
Is this an optional side mission? I think it might be. It's either that or we're coming back there in a little bit, so I may as well trudge forward. Oh, I actually can't remember. I think that's a side mission, which I'm fine skipping that. So they said, okay, how can we take the publisher demand for co-op, they being Visceral in this case, how can we take this demand that they put on us to add in online multiplayer co-op, how can we do something with that in the confines of our universe? Well, first they were going to have Carver be a completely different character. They were going to actually have him be a character with some relevance and importance. Like, they flesh him out a little bit in this game. If you're playing in co-op, you get a little more detail about him. But he's still treated as an afterthought to the point where he's just, like, warping around in cutscenes and shit. Like, remember back in the beginning, Danik has the gun to Isaac's head, and he just manages to barely make it off the ship and then back down to the planet? Carver is there with him. And his escape from the ship with Danik and Danik's men is just never ever brought up. Like, he's treated as a real afterthought. But I think that's because Carver wasn't actually a character for a long time in development. Instead, he was like a shadow of Isaac's psychosis. He was a hallucination, basically, that would follow you all throughout the game. And then you and the shadow of Isaac would experience like different dementia sequences, different hallucinations. Some of them would be fake for one player, real for another. So you would argue, the intention was you would argue with your partner about what's fake and what's real. And that sounds really cool. And that, I think, did sort of make it into this game as a specter of itself. But the game's director said they didn't have enough time, they weren't given enough time or money to flesh that out into anything that's really substantial or interesting. And maybe that's an excuse on his part. Maybe, like, you can't pin that on EA. Maybe they gave them ample time and ample budget, but that's not the EA that any of us know. What's not really... Oh, we still have to go up here. I'm getting all sorts of flipped, turned upside down. I knew there was still at least a few of you. I could hear them. But what we do know is that this game is microtransactions and mandatory. It was mandatory that they had co-op and all that stuff because of EA. And then there was also crafting. Crafting was also dissected, stitched back up with the microtransactions and stuff, where they were never intended to be there. There was a crafting system initially, but it got dramatically overhauled, again, due to EA's mandate. Yeah, we saw this before, but they even give you the notes and subtitles. There are a couple of these puzzles where you have to look around the environment and they're like graffitied. I think that's our last zero gravity section of the game. God, I do love the alien ruins. Which might seem like a weird time for me to be talking about. Oh man. What caused the game to come out in the state it's in.
What about stasis? What about? Think it's in hands too?
Try and let me know.
So those glowing glyphs on the ground give you like a super gravity gun style superkinesis and super stasis as well with a new visual effect. We'll see. So all of this was in pursuit of trying to get Dead Space 3 to sell at least 5 million copies, which is absurd. The previous Dead Space games were like modest 1 or 2 millions. I mean, successful in their own right, but disappointing, but again, by EA's standards. So, did it? No, not really. EA's repeatedly called this game's sales disappointing. The only figures that we have are the launch debut of about 600,000, which is, it's during a window in which games do most of their business, so it would be pretty nuts if by today, when this video goes up, if it had reached 5 million. So they hijacked Visceral's original vision for nothing, really. No tangible benefit. And that's kind of the story of EA. That's kind of how a lot of their stuff plays out. And usually the end game of that is they hijack a developer's vision in hopes of making a game sell more than it ever could possibly do. It tanks, they blame the studio as a result, and they say the studio isn't profitable, so they shutter it. It hasn't happened to Visceral yet. Hopefully it doesn't, because they're good folks. They make good games.
I call this the promenade. One of many conduits straight to the heart of the machine. Without the codex, I can only speculate, but I suspect the machine will be open for any changes to be made. I will be the one that just that. By standing on the special distributed area of the door, I will show that I can use the two hieroglyphics on the wall behind me indicate that one configuration will open the machine. Another will enact any changes to the internal programming. Once you get it open and have followed all of my research, you will need to return here to enact the final stage.
So while he was explaining all that, we already solved the puzzle. So we're going to revisit this later on. While we're here the first time, we have to follow the markings on the left side of the wall and configure the statues in that manner.
God, this isn't a city, Carver. All of this is the machine.
Holy hell. Okay, you're the engineer. How do we fix it?
We'll follow Serrano's clues and reconfigure the machine. I just opened a conduit to the heart of the city. If there's a control center for the Codex, that's where it'll be. Meet me there.
So we open this up using the configuration on the left side of the wall. And then we'll go deeper into the heart of the machine, configure it, and then come back here and do the right side. God, I know there's more and I don't want to get stuck right now. Remember, dismemberment against these things is not actually that much more effective than just shooting them straight up center mass. They're one of the very few exceptions to the dismemberment rule. Damn, I thought I would just barely... I'm stuck now. Just barely pass by on the left. This is actually bad. I'm stuck on something here. Not just their collision. Fuck. That was going really well for a second. They just throw those at you and they're so beefy. Covered in chitin. Now we're gonna see what mode of transport they've chosen for us. I think... all of this back third of the game is so fucking good. I think the whole alien ruins and everything leading up to here, especially exposition-wise, has been more in line with what I've wanted out of the whole thing. Makes you think how much better it could have been. I think Visceral is currently working on Amy Hennig's Star Wars game. Like, even little touches like the way these doors open is fantastic. Fuck yes! These and the next few rooms are some of the ones that I remember the most from my initial playthrough. Like, some of this stuff that has stuck with me. Oh, yeah, this one. So they mistook some of the alien necromorphs of varying heights for statues, and while they camped beneath one, it killed most of them in their sleep. Those things all around us, by the way, they are not statues. They are skeletons. I think there's another... God, that new stasis effect is nice looking. There's another log that talks about the composition of the statues, and oh shit, nope, fossils. That's really nice with the outline and the shimmer. And if you look at the consumption of the stasis on the UI, it's not moving. So it's super powered and more or less free. Problem is, we're surrounded. They're not throwing them at us in huge, unmanageable waves yet. So it's kind of neat. It's overpowered as all hell, but there's also something about it that doesn't allow you to feel secure because you can't put your back to a wall. You always have to have some kind of open, vulnerable, blind spot. Plus you're in these dark alien ruins. You don't know, like, none of the architecture is familiar to you. You have no vision. It's eerie green glow.
I'll bet this supercharging effect might let us TK the limbs right off necromorphs while they're still moving.
That's great. Thanks for the tip.
And here's the other function of the super telekinesis on these glyphs. You don't have to wait until their corpses to grab their limbs off. It is ridiculously powerful. They're also few and far between, though. Oh! I think I super TK'd a small med pack just clear across the room. Oh, no sense going wandering off in search of that. Is there anything else, though? Yeah. Oh, no, I thought that was, it was a scaff artifact or an alien artifact. Oh, man, what I wouldn't give for more of the game to have been this. Some people are gonna find it odd that I waited until now to talk about, like, how EA kind of fucked this game up. And they're gonna find that dissonant. Again, I don't think Dead Space 3 is bad. But I will absolutely acknowledge the ways in which it is very flawed due to some interference. Oh yes, Acid Bath. Acid Bath is really powerful. It's essentially Resident Evil acid rounds, or it converts your weapon into firing acid rounds. Gives a nice acidic DOT. I think it's one of the strongest mods. Like, I have fire-tipped stuff. I have incendiary rounds on my force gun / pulse rifle. Need to turn the power on to that first. But acid's much better. Oh shit, that actually got me. I knew there was gonna be something sooner or later, but I think I just tunnel visioned for a second. And there's you behind me. I'm trying to finish you off before I address that. Oh god, you're just too close. And I'm stuck on you. Oh, I'm stuck on you. Pop, pop. I still hear more. Less. Is that his death throws? I'm not sure. We got. Oh, yeah, okay. This seemed like they had a really cool idea in mind that they could never implement. Because this whole log is about their language and how they used, like, strings of suffixes to modify notes to convey, like, more complex thoughts than just single words. And there's, like, that short guide in there about how they modify the phrase power source.
You are now deep in the heart of the machine. From here, there appear to be two primary configuration points. One to the west that you have no doubt already activated, and another to the north. If they can be properly composed, well, to be honest, I don't exactly know what will happen. The only advice I can offer is this. Be observant. The clues are out there.
Yeah, it's a real shame, because between the text log and that audio log that just played from Serrano, I feel like that's supposed to be the start of a puzzle hint, and that puzzle just never materialized in anything. Ooh, we still got you. Did I just never finish you off, or did you crawl out of one of these chambers like that? Half-formed. I think he may have just popped out like that. Oh shit, Spider 1. Enhanced spider fodders are grueling to take down. Like, their limbs take so much damage and they move so quickly. Look how quick they catch up. How quick they close distance. Still got more? Okay. It's just you? Can't believe none of those bullets cut those tentacles off. Oh! And they can go from the 3 tendrils poking out of the torso to crawling around like a spider. That's fun shit. I think you need to be there. Trying to listen out, because in these rooms you can usually get a good preview of what kind of enemy composition you're working with ahead of time. Oh shit, no wait. No, this isn't the one, but it's close to the one I'm thinking of. There's a really brutal fight coming up. This one's not really a piece of cake. The one coming up is worse though. I think this one is a bunch of stalkers and fodder. Maybe a few aliens. There's one in a similar looking room though. Yeah. And they sandwich you here. They just throw everything at you. We got the projectile ones. We got more flooding in behind. Might still have stalkers out there getting ready around the corner. I think this might be the best place I can be. Because now that there are all these chambers all over the place, that gives them more spots to ambush you from. So the fodders are fine. Enhanced ones are durable, but manageable. Trying to keep an ear out for the charging noise, the scream that the stalkers make as they come at you. And I'm like 99% positive there are still more stalkers. Holy hell. And there's more fodders apparently. I didn't even hear that one. He snuck up on me. One fucking came up on me like Sam Fisher. Damn. In this chapter, they really try to wear you thin on ammo. Just look at them, they're still coming. It's like a grueling sequence. This chapter is a fucking nightmare on hard. Yeah, I knew there were still a few of you. They were kind enough to not cross the corner, though. Oh, I want you. Not even close to done with these. Look at this. At least my aim is on point. Take the legs out right from underneath them. You went there. So there are a couple of ways that I've found that you can trigger these to come at you. If you aim at them when they poke their heads out long enough, they realize they've been spotted and they charge right away. You can also, if you have a quick reloading weapon, usually, I think this might be a case of the game cheating a little bit and reading your inputs, but if you fire one shot off and then reload immediately, they try to catch you while you're reloading. So you can bait them out that way. Now we get a little lull. I think we're into a slightly nastier section next. Ooh, but first, what we got? Signs are all around me. I don't know why I didn't see it before. Just kind of reiterating that the markers manipulate us into building more of them so that they can propagate. Then once we reach a critical population threshold, they descend. Like locusts. They always find a way to work one of these sequences in, ever since Dead Space 2. the Halo jump sequences. There are a few decent ones. Those things I believe are called Medusas. We will see them again. really all they are. I think they only exist in these sequences for a little bit. They're just like tripods. They're polyps with long dangly limbs attached. Could this be? Well, we'll know in a second. Yup. So there's one room in Dead Space 2 that is like this one. So much so that I think this might be an homage to that room. This one, though, is much more demanding. This one throws, like, pairs of stalkers at you at a time, plus the cysts if you decide to try to chase them down, plus exploders. I think they might have some kind of leash point, though, around this corner. Because it seems like if I stick my head out and then cross back around the corner, they retreat. That's pretty good, though. I think the only thing that makes this manageable once they start throwing pairs of them at you is that not all of them are enhanced. But there are so many. And they're going to start pairing them with... Holy shit. Stop that. Stop that right now. Stop that right now. So far it's going okay, though. I remember this being much, much rougher my first time. And it might be because I tried to take up, like, more of a forward position where I could get caught between cysts and exploders more easily. I'm hanging back a little bit more this time. Holy shit. Just as I say that, I get startled. Try and move up a little. Yeah. Okay, this is why I don't move up. Because the second you do... Ooh, that was nice. I believe I just took a stalker with that one. It wasn't even intentional. Sorry, I'm listening out for those. Normally you're only... Oh, and more of the corruption that makes you walk slow. Like, the only appearance of that mechanic. Where is it? I hear it around the corner. It's that one. I'm not gonna risk it. Let's just shoot it. Yeah, totally could have reached me.
The invasive growth in this area has made it difficult to make much progress. Dig teams continue to get caught in the ancient, sticky webbing. There is no doubt in my mind that the devices above are essential to the configuration of this alien machine. Based on my observations of the alien script, it could be a sort of amplifier made to boost the signal or power source when properly aligned.
Oh, there are no benches nearby. And I think supplies are starting to dwindle just a little bit after some really intense rooms. We are gonna have to make do, though. This is a long loading lift. So I'm gonna make my way up here. And I think I'm gonna call it for now. That's gonna do it for now, everyone. Thanks for watching. Take it easy. Have a good one. We'll see what's up here next time.